Standing by for Road to Success, the journey. Don't forget that the hour 12 to 1 is brought to you by Red Stripe. Win over 12 million in cash and prizes in the Beer Winnings promotion. Drink and live responsibly.
Dance with it, dance with it. Move with it, move with it. Dance with it, dance with it. Move with it, move with it. Dance with it, dance with it.
From dancehall stage to the ranks of the U.S. Army Reserve, ZUMJAY's journey is truly inspiring. An engineer, a performer, and now a soldier, ZUMJAY's story is one of discipline, perseverance, and success. And Zoom, I'm so happy that you could take time out of your schedule to take us on your road to success. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon and happy, and I'm honored, for you having me here.
Yeah, no, look, I thought you were going to come on and be like, Zoom.
Jay is my name and to be is my game.
Hey.
You know how it is.
Same ZUMJAY, but different. There's a lot of difference. We're going to get into that. But let's kick things off, though, ZUMJAY, with your foundation. You grew up in Waterhouse. How did that environment, ultimately shaped your mindset? And how would you describe your early years?
Well, really and truly, Waterhouse, definitely living in Waterhouse played a huge part on me even wanting to pursue music and pursue being a dancehall artist, because I lived on West Bay Farm Road, and my house in Waterhouse, basically it faced the famous St. Lucia Avenue, where King Jammy's studio is located. So grew up in Waterhouse. I would see, from a 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, I would see all the prominent and famous celebrities, passing my house every single day, from Ninja Man to Tiger to Lieutenant Stitchy to Shaka Demos. You know what I'm saying? All of these famous folks would pass my house every single day to go up, to go up to King Jammy's studio and record. So just seeing this every day as a child kind of inspired me to pursue music. So,
okay. Yeah, I can't imagine, you just see these celebrities just casually going by as a youngster. But what lesson or early message did you learn from your parents as a child?
Well, for one, my mom, I grew up my mother only, basically. She was a single mom, and she basically instilled discipline, as in, we couldn't miss school. Even when we were sick, we had to go to school. And education was first with my mom. We had to finish school. We had to go to school. And graduation from high school was the ultimate goal with my mom. And, don't take nobody things and don't really eye for nobody things, basically. Things like those was instilled in me. Just hold your own and be satisfied with what you have and just work for more on your own.
How about your dad? Did you have any interactions with him?
Yes, I did have interactions with my dad as a kid. My dad had this what do you call it, lumber yard out there on Victoria Avenue, out there, and down the south side Kingston, off East Queen Street. Yeah, he had this lumber yard, and me and my brother, we used to go visit him every weekend. Every few weeks we'd go visit him, and we would have a chance to see what the workers were doing in the lumber yard, and they would teach us, how to do certain things around the lumber yard as it relates to that field. You know what I'm saying? Just basically just putting us to work and giving us something for for the weekend while we were there, and it was fun, because it took us away from, the whole being in Waterhouse all the time. So when we went out there for the weekends, we would have basically a chance to escape and have an outer experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As you mentioned that your mom, placed great emphasis on education. Reflecting on your school years, is there like an outstanding moment or achievement that inspired you from early?
Well, basic school, they chose me, one and only, to go up and recite Bible verse. It was Ecclesiastic 3, verse 1. For
Oh,
everything there's a
wow.
time and a season. Exactly. So from then, when I had to go up and recite that in front of everyone, that basically gave me the confidence for public speaking, from way out in school. And also, my mom would have us recite poems and all that stuff in church as well. Sunday school, whenever, you go to Sunday school, you go to church, of course, and every Sunday after church, you go to Sunday school after church, right? But every year, Christmas time, they would have like a Christmas concert at the church, and then they would want volunteers to perform, whether it be a poem, whether it be a song, you know how it is. So, of course, we were voluntold. We didn't have a choice. We were voluntold to get up there, fix up a little poem or something, and go up there and go recite it. So that really and truly kind of put a lot of confidence in me from earlier on, and I got this from my mom to basically go out there in front of people and entertain.
After high school, what was the plan for ZUMJAY?
After high school, I had only one thing on my mind, and it was music. I wasn't thinking about college. I wasn't thinking about anything else but just getting successful within the music business. And with that said, I went straight out of high school into, even though I was pursuing, wanted to become a dancehall artist, and I was entertaining my fellow high school, schoolmates in school, popular in high school as the school artists. Right after high school, Donovan Germain from Penthouse actually gave me the opportunity to learn audio engineering at Penthouse. At the time, it was out there in Slipe Road. So after high school, my thing was to get famous as a dancehall artist. But in order for me to do so, I would have to find a way to get into the studio yard first. Because the security will lock you out until they say, yo, boss, them they know you, so you can't come in. So what I do, right? I got a job at the studio. So now the security can't lock me out. So every day I come to work, again, Donovan Germain, thanks to Donovan Germain, he gave me the opportunity to come there, Penthouse, employed with the Penthouse. I learned audio engineering, and that eventually and ultimately, basically helped me as an artist, to develop my craft.
But that in itself, ZUMJAY, is such a huge opportunity. I mean, you're talking about the legendary Donovan Germain, CEO
Yes.
of Penthouse Records and producer extraordinaire. How did you land that opportunity, and did you have any previous experience in audio engineering?
No. So I had no experience whatsoever. But what stood out to Donovan, to tell you the truth, what stood out to Donovan Germain is this. When I went to Penthouse, I went to audition as an artist, in my school uniform. I never forget. And the Lenky was there. Sly, if my memory serves me right, rest in peace to the great Sly Dunbar. Sly and Robbie Shakespeare. Sly and Robbie were there. They were in a session, and I went there in my uniform. And he said, okay, let me hear you. So I went around there, I did my thing, and they said, yo, you sound good. But he said, you're in school. So come back when you are finished with school. That's what he told me. At that time, I was in my senior year at high school in fifth form. So basically 6 months later, I went back to Penthouse. But this time when I went back, now my mom told me basically, I'm graduated from high school now. I need to get a job to support the family, right? But I knew that if I went and got a job, it would take me away from this music that I love so much. So I kind of went to Penthouse under the premise of asking Donovan Germain for a job as an engineer. That way I could kill two birds with one stone. I could please my mom and tell her I have my job, and then I could stay close to the music. So for a young man to come up to Germain and ask him for a job as an engineer was very unusual, because everybody who approaches him at the time was approaching him as wanting to be an artist and wanted for him to voice them on a rhythm and whatever. But I came different. I came and said, hey, can I learn engineering? And he said, you know what? And another thing too, I went to Kingston College as well. So the fact that Donovan Germain is a KC old boy and I'm a KC old boy, you already know how we do, right? We take care of our own. So he was like, okay, no problem. You're going to learn engineering. Come every day 10 o'clock, and that's what I did, and I learned from him. I learned from Stephen Stanley, and basically that's how he gave me the job.
Wow, those are some greats that you're mentioning. What did that experience though teach you overall about the industry?
Sure. It was an eye opener. I learned every day about the ins and outs of the industry, the goods, the bads, and of course, I learned for the most part the technical aspects of the music industry. So, prior to that, I was just listening to music and just enjoying the music. But now, as an engineer, I got a chance to see how the music was made, right from inception. Stephen Stanley, one of the greatest audio engineers in Jamaica's history. He used to, engineer for Bob Marley and Chris Blackwell, and he basically engineered and mixed a lot of song, for Penthouse, a lot of hit song for Penthouse. He was basically my teacher, and he told me that making music is like cooking food. You gotta apply different seasoning and different quantities and amounts of seasoning and make it, ferment and marinate and what have you at this temperature. And that's what an engineer being in the music industry, taught me about the music. Being an engineer taught me a different way to look at it, different aspect. I got to saw stars, like Beanie Man, Shocking Vibes crew, Tanto Metro, Devante, because Shocking Vibes share the same compound as Penthouse, so they would book studio time at Penthouse every Tuesday to record songs. So I saw a lot of those hit songs that Beanie Man did at the time. I was sitting there, in the studio as a witness, watching it being created. So
Yeah.
it gave me confidence, and I learned certain little nuances and techniques from the various different artists that I met, came to the studio to record and what have you. So I would say, being at Penthouse, it was like somewhat of being in college, or being a dancehall artist somewhat.
But what's interesting though, like, here it is, you have these greats, you're learning, you're open to learning, and it still did not deter you from your main goal, which is to become an artist. Because you could have gotten caught up in just, becoming an audio engineer and being
Yes.
comfortable. But then around 1998, you actually transitioned from
Yes.
engineer to artist. Why? Take us back to that moment.
So here's the deal. Funny you should ask that. So I'm at Penthouse as an engineer, but every time Shocking Vibes rent the studio on Tuesdays, I'm basically DJing and they're hearing, because remember now, I'm not engineering the studios at the studio on Tuesday. I'm just there present, but Shocking Vibes has their own engineers. So when they are engineering and recording their songs, I get the opportunity to DJ out loud, and them hear my talent that way. So long story short, Shocking Vibes is the one who actually started recording me in 1998 and put out my first songs. Even though I was working for Penthouse as an engineer, Shocking Vibes actually put out my first set of songs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Patrick Roberts at the time, Paul Terrell, Dean Mundy, Marlon Piranha Cooks, Andre Henry. These guys were the great engineers and producers there in Shocking Vibes, and they were the one who gave me the opportunity and put out my first songs. They had the confidence in my talent, so to speak. Not that Jeremy didn't have confidence in my talent, but Jeremy was just busy and caught up with running, one of the biggest labels in music industry. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that worked out. That's what caused the transition. Shocking Vibes recorded me.
So tell us about your frame of mind, because sometimes like a lot of people on their road to success, on their journey, it's always kind of like iffy when you're giving up what's comfortable or what for the unexpected. What was that? What was your mindset then, and what did Donovan Germain say when you break the news to him that you're leaving to become an artist?
So I didn't. So even though Shocking Vibe was recording me in '98, I was still there as a engineer. We had my first set of songs on the radio was played. I can remember like it was yesterday. It was played by Bones, Lippo, and Master Wayne. So with that, I was still there working as an engineer, even though I was recording for Shocking Vibes. So now, in 2000 now, I recorded myself now. While being an engineer at Penthouse, I recorded the song Courtney. Now, when I recorded Courtney, which was an anthem for Courtney Walsh, who was about to break the World Cricket bowling record, when I did Courtney and Courtney took off now, that's when Lenky, said to me, hey, Lenky, musician Lenky, producer Lenky, this is pre-the-wall, Lenky said to me, hey, Zoom, you have to go make a decision, You have to go continue for punch, and be a red light engineer. That's what they would have called you as an engineer, because all you do is just punch red light. You're going to continue to be a red light engineer, or you have to pursue your dreams. So that is when I had to make the tough decision as to, stop, basically quit my job as an engineer. And I told Jermaine this, and he never felt any way or anything. He said, hey, go ahead, man, go pursue your dreams, man. That's what he said. He gave me his blessing, and the rest is history from there.
Wow. As you mentioned 2000, you saw success, like you mentioned, with songs like Courtney, Shake It, Dancing Team, and others. Take us back to that defining moment and, just you getting a taste of stardom.
Sure. My first real taste of stardom, honestly, is when I did Courtney. So when I did Courtney, I recorded the song on, I think it was a Thursday night. So I used to engineer for Tony Rebel and Flames Music. They would book studio time at Penthouse, and they would record from 6 p.m. all the way till in the following morning whenever they're done. So while they were there that night, the Thursday night, and this is the weekend before Courtney Walsh would break the record, because the test match was going on between the West Indies and Australia, I think. I was there building the song. So when they finished their session that night, I don't know, midnight, maybe 1 a.m. or whatever, I basically started recording myself. And even before I started recording myself, Tony Rebel himself was giving me some pointers and telling me some famous cricketers, to mention in the song and all that stuff. Yeah, Tony Rebel actually helped me out a great deal, with the song while he was there. But he had left that night, and when they left, I recorded myself, at Penthouse Studio, and basically took the song now down to the radio station the following day, took it down to Richie B. Richie B premiered it on the radio. And then once he premiered it on the radio, then another disc jockey, Marlon Young now was playing at the match on the mound. He was live at Sabina Park on the mound. He heard it on the radio and he said, hey, tell ZUMJAY to bring that song to me right now. Yeah, remember, I just recorded this on the Thursday. And by the next day, I'm asked to bring this song down to Sabina Park. So I go down to Sabina Park with the song on a CD. And the police was there, the guards were there, but they were expecting me because Marlon had told them. So now, I bring the song inside to Marlon, and I give him the song. Because remember now, the mound is where like the upper echelons hang out at the cricket match. So once I gave him the song, the police was like, hey, you gotta go, you can't stay.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I gave the song to Marlon Young, disc jockey, at the time, famous disc jockey at the time, and I took a bus. I never forget. I took 2 buses. I took one from Sabina Park to Crossroad, and then jump on another bus from Crossroad, go Waterhouse. Now, them time I have my little 13-inch TV in my house with the 13-inch TV with the 13 channel where you click. Yeah. Or I go home, sit down in the couch, turn on the TV, and I click to JBC, I think, at the time. And sure enough, it was the match going on live on TV, and everybody in the stadium in Sabina Park was singing Courtney. Remember, I literally just gave this song to Marlon Young like probably an hour before. I recorded this song the day before, right? Not even 24 hours yet. And then I just hear the whole Sabina Park just singing the song. So, my head was exploding. So that's my first taste of stardom. Courtney eventually broke the record that weekend, and then by the Monday I was on the motorcade with Courtney. I got a chance to meet him, and I was with him singing the song whole day while the motorcade went around Kingston, and everybody was singing the song, saying Courtney while I was singing the song. So that was my first taste of stardom right there, 2000, around I don't
Yeah.
know, March or April, when Courtney
Yeah,
broke that
well,
record.
that was a huge breakthrough for you, and just the immediacy of it, you just believing, taking a leap, and everything
Yes,
just working out. But then you went on to do other recordings, Shake
yes.
It, Dancing Team, and all of that. Ultimately, despite these successes, at what point did you come to the realization, or did you come to the realization that music alone wasn't enough?
Well, once my so I got married in 2006, and then my wife was pregnant with my daughter. Yeah. So once she was about, I don't know, 7 months, maybe 8 months pregnant, um, I realized that the money that I was making from music, because now this is a big milestone in my life, period. I'm about to be a father. And I've never experienced this before, right? And I'm worried. Not worried for me, I'm worried for this child, because, prior to this, I'm just responsible for myself, right? If I don't got no money, it doesn't matter, because it's not that me not having money is not affecting nobody but me. So now I realize that music may not be enough to support, my child, my unborn child that's about to born in a few months. And that's when I decided that, you know what, I need substantial income. I joined the army. Took the hard decision, didn't tell anybody that I was going to join the army, because I didn't want anybody talking me out of it. I knew if I told Lenky or told certain people, certain of my friends, they would say, no, don't do it, you're going to kill yourself, this, that, and the third. So I didn't tell anyone, and only
Oh,
my wife
wow.
knew, and so when I joined the army now and came out, that's when the news broke, that, I joined the army and what have you. But then, even though it was supposed to be supplemental income, it kind of drew me away from the music, because now this is basically what is funding, and supporting my family and, my child and all that good stuff. So that's how I got kind of like drawn from the music, because I had to do what I had to do and focus on,
The
raising my
child.
daughter. And eventually I got a son, so I had to raise the kids, man. And sometimes music don't pay the bills. I could walk around
Yeah.
every day and everybody say, "Yo, that song they bad, that song they shot," but that means nothing if you
Yeah.
cannot support the ones you love. And I chose, you know, I chose supporting my family over hype.
How difficult was that transition, though, ZUMJAY, from entertainer to a soldier in the military?
Ah man, it was difficult. So to me, it wasn't a transition at the time, because to me, I was just always a entertainer, no matter what, and that's my love and my passion, and that's my that's me to the core. But it was difficult, just becoming a soldier, because now, I've spent my whole life not answering to no one, right, and just being me. Now I'm in this boot camp, right? In this basic training, people telling me, get down and do 50 push-ups and this, that, and the third. Plus, when they pull out them weapons, you already know. Even though, hey, even though I come from Watos, we are good people. We are decent people. You know what I'm gonna be? We
Yeah.
not do that something there. And so when they brought out them guns, man, and they say, yo, you got to hold this, man, and you got to shoot this, that right there. I was like, man, I never really, what I'm saying? We signed up for this. And they say, yes, as a matter of fact, you did sign up for this. You're going to hold that gun and you're going to shoot it. So, it was very difficult for me becoming a soldier, because now but it built me and shaped me, though. I will say that. They have a saying,
Yeah.
they got to break you down to build you up. And it did build me and gave me, a lot of discipline, well needed discipline, and it gave me a lot of another outlook on life, and grounded me, a whole lot.
You were deployed overseas. How did that experience change, your worldview?
Also, first of all, my first deployment was 2009 to 2010. I think I went October 2009 to September 2010. I was in the Middle East for a whole year. And that was a culture shock for me because now I'm in a country where, first of all, the writing is different on every building. You know, that Arabic writing, I don't understand anything. I was so I was so just basically out of it. You know what I'm saying? Out of my elements, so to speak. Culture wise, I was out of my elements, my first deployment. But I ended up just start because what you do on deployments, you know, you count down. Even though you go there to do a mission and do a job, you're really and truly just counting down to come home. So I was there in November, and I knew that I needed to make it home by October, and I knew I needed to make it home by September of the following year. And we just started counting down 1 month at a time. Hey, 10 months to go, 9 months to go, and
Wow.
you just get through it until it's 1 month to go. I know you're excited. You know, back then we had Skype. We didn't have FaceTime. No, 2009, iPhone wasn't around.
Yeah, it was Skype. But
Yeah, we had Skype.
mentally though, like for you, like here it is, like you say, even though you come from Waterhouse, you know, certain things, you know, used to, even though you went through the training, I'm sure just the whole actuality of it would definitely hit different. I mean, what was your mindset? Like, were you nervous, fearful, you know, or man a soldier, you just rough it out? What was that like for you?
So initially, I was nervous. Yeah. When I heard the news that I was going, I was here in the States, and I heard, hey, you're gonna go, and I got orders. Of course, we were nervous, and we trained, you know, and then we got over, and on our way over there. Of course, I'm super nervous because you know I'm seeing stuff on TV and this good entity, and I know, you know what I'm saying. Pick up himself. I go over, yes or no. You understand? So I was super nervous going over there. But then once I got over there and I saw the situation and how everything was set up and just day to day what I did every day and you know, just the whole operation, I was like, okay, I could do this for 1 year. It's difficult. The hardest part of it was being away from my family. But once I got there now, I wasn't nervous or anything like that. It's just counting down. We just counting down, you know. One day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, basically.
Have you ever had a close call?
No, never had a close call. But even if I had a close call, though, I might not want to say.
And something else I want to ask you, but I don't know if you
Yeah,
can say
yeah.
or whatever. But with what is happening now, you know, in the world, like even with the whole Iran, Israel, US war
Yeah.
currently, I know you're still active, you know.
Yes.
What are your thoughts if you can say anything?
You know what? I have no thoughts. I'm just living day by day, Kashima. I promise you. I'm like everyone else in the world, you know, just hoping for the best, you know? Just hoping for the best and just hoping for peace. That's it. What can we do but hope for peace, right?
You have said it. On that note, we're gonna break for cash pod. Stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. We are on the road to success, and we're journeying with none other than ZUMJAY.
Soon!
The time by Oxymaster the Stain Blaster is...
It is now 12:58. Don't forget that the hour 12 to 1 is brought to you by Red Stripe. Win over 12 million in cash and prizes in the Beer Winnings promotion. Drink and live responsibly. Listen up, your top draw dollars. Pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot. Lunchtime draws up next.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Yeah. This is not a you I say. Irie. When they listen to Irie, everybody love Irie. Irie FM.
Ezekiel, you love me?
Irie.
Ezekiel, you wanna marry me again?
Irie.
Zikel, the lamp turn over.
Irie.
Zikel, the house abandoned.
Irie. Papa Jesus, who turn off your radio?
Kaboom! Irie! Them little fool there try copy them for stop it!
Warning! RFM have it locked! Them have the number
Welcome
one
to the official live drawing of the Supreme Ventures Lottery Games. This could be your lucky day. Get your tickets out and let the games begin.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday, March 19, 2026. I'm Dehandro, and welcome to the 1 p.m. live game draw. Before we begin, here's a quick look at the mid-morning winning numbers. All our draws are supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by the independent auditing firm PwC. Now let's put some money in your top draw. This afternoon's jackpot is $600,000. So here are your winning top draw numbers. The first top draw number to make its way down is ball 15. The second number, here comes 11. Next up, ball 14. Following 14, here comes the number 5. And for that 600,000, you're going to need a solid 20. And now let's pick your play with our dollars game. I hope you're feeling lucky. The winning numbers are coming right your way. The first dollars number to make its way down is ball 23. The second number, 4. Next up, the number 28. Following 28, we have a solid 30. What will be next? Lucky number 7. Following 7, here comes ball number 12. And I hope I'm calling your numbers because the number 9 is next in line. Here comes ball 19, followed by the number 34. Ball 26 is next. We're then going to count up to 27, and we end dollars with ball 22. Now for some easy winnings with our Pick2 game, so get your tickets out and let's play. The first Pick2 number to make its way up, here it comes. 4, and the second number, what will it be? 13. Once more, your winning Pick2 numbers are 4 and 13. It's all in the name, so let's pick 3. The first Pick3 number to make its way up, what will it be? 6. The second number, here comes 6, and the third and final number, 6. Once again, the winning Pick3 numbers are 6, 6, and lucky number 6. It's now time to turn up your winnings, so get ready for Pick 4. The first Pick 4 number to make its way up, what will it be? 5. The second number, here comes 4. The third number, 8, and the fourth and final number, 1. Once again, your winning Pick 4 numbers are 5, 4, 8, and lucky number 1. This one, easy for win. So let's heat things up with our pick. And what will the winning hot pick number be? Here it comes. We have a spicy 1. Congrats to all my hot pick winners. Again, the winning number is 1. We know you live to play it, but can you win it? Get ready to be a big cash pot winner, and let's see what the winning cash pot number will be. And the 1 p.m. winning cash pot number, round and round they go, here it comes. 15, lucky mark, right. And now let's mega your winnings, so good luck. Round and round they go, will it be white, will it be mega? And a white ball was selected. It's now time for the big one. You already know it, the monster winnings. The balls are bubbling. Will it be white? Will it be monster? What will it be? And a white ball was selected. Now let's take a look at this afternoon's winning numbers. Congrats to everyone who won. A huge congrats to our Super Lotto winner who purchased a $200 ticket and won the jackpot of $194.4 million. The winning ticket was purchased at Charles Off Betting, located at 2 South Racecourse, Manchester. Are you the new super millionaire? Check your tickets now. Please join us again at 3 p.m. for more games you love to play. I'm Deandro. Have a supreme afternoon.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
That was the lunchtime top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot draws. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 3 p.m. for another chance to win in hot pick and cash pot special pot draws. And of course, don't forget that the hour 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. inside the Easy Skanking is brought to you by Red Stripe. Win over 12 million in cash and prizes in the Beer Winnings promotion. Drink and live responsibly. If you're just joining us, we are on the road to success and we're journeying with none other than ZUMJAY. So Zoom, in continuing the conversation, you earned degrees in psychology and criminal justice. What actually inspired that path?
Yes, ma'am. Well, to be honest, I started out with a degree. I started out basically pursuing business administration at Borough of Manhattan Community College back then. And then I went on to transfer from that school, the same major at American Military University. However, so I got an associate's in business admin. Mm-hmm. So originally I transitioned to get my bachelor's with business admin, but man, life happened and I was so busy and so many things. I was like, you know what? Let me do psychology. Honestly, that's the only reason why I did psychology, because it was like less credits.
Okay,
to be honest, less credits than a business major. And then I was getting paid to go to school by the military. Yep, I was getting paid to get in school. So I was using my post 9/11 GI Bill to pay for school and what have you. Now, after I got my bachelor's in psychology, I decided to pursue a criminal justice master's, because even though I'm an Army reservist, because I'm not active duty, I'm a reservist and I get called to duty ever so often, right? My full-time career is actually in immigration. So because I do immigration, I figured that criminal justice would definitely help to enhance my my immigration career, and that's why I pursued criminal justice at St. John's University, and I graduated in 2018.
Oh, no, Zoom, what I want to ask you though, do you think that like more artists should prioritize, education along with music?
100%. They used to tell me this in school back then, that you'd always need something to fall back on, so don't give up on your education and always pursue your education. And as a young man, and I can understand, teenager, what have you, young adolescents or whatever that basically just goes through one ears, come through the other. But then when you grow up, I found out that, because for years I didn't need a degree. I was doing music and I was successful at music, so I didn't need a degree, or I thought I didn't need a degree, yeah? But then once I transitioned out of music now, and I'm in the Army, I realized that in order to advance in the Army, right, or in any industry, you're going to have to compete for that promotion. You're going to have to compete for that next step up. And if the people that you're competing against has that degree, guess what? You're going to be overlooked. You're not going to win that position over them. So that's why I decided to let me get myself educated so I could compete to get promoted. And that's what I've been doing over the years. So now I'm in, my resume can stand up to anyone else's resume, because it's not only your experience. Sometimes you could be the greatest technician, the greatest mechanic, the greatest chef. Sometimes here in the States, it all comes down to that paper. You could have been doing this for 20 years. They want to see that certification on a paper from a accredited institution. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're going to compete. Otherwise, you're going to be the most experienced person with someone who doesn't have your experience, who went to school for 2 years, but they got that piece of paper. That person is your boss. They don't know half what you know, but, without education, so education, definitely I would tell artists to never give up on your education, kind of work your education, hand in hand with your music, because you may need that education in the future. And not only that, depends on what you're into. If you're into construction, you could go into what if you want to build houses as an entertainer. A lot of entertainers, get amass a huge amount of wealth, and they start to build, going to real estate. They building apartments, building houses, what have you. Well, guess what? You could get a degree in project management. So now you don't have to depend on somebody running your site to build your house. You know what is what. You know how to basically manage your construction project, rather than depending on a company that's going to show you some numbers that's probably not even accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you could take control of your life and your destiny, by getting, the proper education, basically, right? To apply to whatever you to apply to your dreams.
Do you feel like two different people, like ZUMJAY, the artist, versus Rohan Stevens, the soldier?
Like Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde? You know what? Sometimes, yes. I will say. At the end of the day, I'm always Rohan. I'm always Rohan Stevens, no matter what. But sometimes I gotta put on that soldier hat, and I gotta realize that when I'm in that field, I gotta conduct myself and carry myself in that manner. You know what I'm saying? You can't just to ball out and go on to. You understand?
Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So now I gotta compartmentalize. The two, of course. ZUMJAY. Being ZUMJAY and being a soldier. I definitely feel like two. I'd never feel like two different persons, but I gotta apply a different personality sometimes. Approach to different things.
Yeah,
right.
I get that.
That's basically it.
Are you still actively pursuing and doing music? Is it just like a hobby for you now, or that is something that you're actively pursuing?
It's funny you should say that, because for years, music had become an hobby for me. Or a hobby, sorry, an hobby. See me there, I try to speak, he spoke, and I mess up my words. Watch on, man. Yeah. So for years, music became a hobby for me, right? And I was just doing it for the love of it. But I always, whenever I hear a good song on the radio or what have you, I always take note of it. I always get inspired. I'm always writing. I'm always recording on my little voice note thing on my iPhone, any little ideas, even though I'm not going to record it or put it out. I'm always actively doing music as a hobby. But recently, with me approaching just literally 2 more years in the army, because I'm going to retire in 2 years, I decided, with the help of Lenky, of course, because he called me and encouraged me, like, yo, you need to get back into this thing, man, and don't let your talent go to waste and what have you. So recently we decided, hey, we're going to put out some music and approach this professionally again, which is why we have Rhythm of the Drums out today, I must say, produced by Lenky, and that's a song with me and Lenky, of course. And Eternal Dancehall coming, another song called Eternal Dancehall coming in 2 weeks. So we're going to take another crack at it, and we're just going to put our music into the universe, and approach the thing, as you said, professionally. Again.
This should be interesting, though, because I can just imagine your academic journey, your military influence and experiences. Like, these are things that will now impact your creative process.
100%. This time around, it's ZUMJAY 2.0. So with all the experience, that I've garnered and attained over the years, most definitely, you're gonna hear a difference in my music, in how I, articulate my ideas, to create my creativity, as you said. You're definitely gonna hear it, but we'll see. But the core part of ZUMJAY, down to the bones, never left, and it's always been here. Talent is talent, no matter what, and we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see.
Yeah, well, we're here to see it. But you know what I want to ask you though, ZUMJAY, like coming from the Penthouse Records stable where Donovan Germain, ultimately gave you that opportunity,
Yes.
to put into music. What do you make of what's currently happening across social media involving Buju Banton and Wayne Wonder and this whole murderer credit?
Yo, honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth, Kashima. I am broken hearted. I'm broken hearted, to tell you the truth. Because Bojo is a bona fide brethren of mine, as well as Wayne. And both of them bring me up into the music. The first time I ever traveled to the United States was as part of Buju Banton's band. You know what I'm saying? So, and me coming to the Penthouse and the whole work. So if you see the two of them going at it like that, man, it's so disappointed. I don't like no part of it. And I just wish that they can come to amends soon and very soon. You know what I'm saying? Only thing I can say is God have the power to fix anything. And I ultimately believe that this is going to get sorted out, and we're going to see Wayne and Buju again in good standing again. But brethren and brethren, sometime teeth and tongue, sort of thing goes sometime, but I'm super disappointed with what's going on right now. I don't like it. It don't look good. I'm just hope say, at least I know say it will get sorted out and fixed soon, because they're two great brethren them, Buju, Wayne are two great dudes. Them just now say eye to eye, and just the devil just come in right now and just pull them apart certain way. So we're gonna fight out the devil, and them gonna fight out the devil. I'm gonna feel like say them gonna fix things. You understand? Everything will go alright, I'm always optimistic, You know that's something there.
You feel like an apology can fix it, or the damage is too grave?
Listen to my man. I wouldn't say an apology alone can fix it, but I think actions, because apology without actions, means nothing. But I think it's going to be ultimately actions that's going to fix this. Time and action, because, time heals, but actions now is basically what's going to fix it ultimately.
I'm happy that you said time, because I have a time signal. Don't go anywhere.
Beer winnings with red stripe. Mix and match the four brew with them like Dragon Stout and Malta, them well nice. With any flavors of red stripe, a beer vibes.
Buy any of your favorite Red Stripe brews plus Malta or Dragon Stout to win your share of $12 million in cash and prizes. See the press for details and how to enter.
Beer winnings with red stripe. Mix and match the four brew with them like Dragon Stout.
Must be 18 years or
well
older.
nice.
Drink and live responsibly.
All right, it is 1:17. We are on the road to success, and we're journeying with none other than ZUMJAY. Now, Zoom, what I want to ask you though, as a man of the law, law, order, and protection, what advice, or would you advise entertainers to be mindful, like of the lyrics that they perform, or should it just still be considered as pure art?
Well, tell you the truth, there's two answers to that. The second part of what you said, it should be considered pure art. That's what I think. But we don't live in that world, unfortunately, whereby it is going to be considered, by the necessary art authorities as just pure art, right? We wish that we lived in a world where you could just say anything and it's just pure art, right? That ultimately is what I think, should be. But unfortunately, I would caution, everyone, be careful of the things that you put in your music. Not necessarily from a law enforcement standpoint, but just a generational standpoint, yeah? Remember, you're seeing certain things now, but would you want your kids to go by certain things that you're singing? And I've been guilty of this too, coming up, a young kid, 19, 18, 19, I sing, bad man this, bad man that, but ultimately now when I think back on a lot of those songs, could I play it for my 12-year-old son? Would I want to play back certain? You gotta think, would you want to play this back for your 10-year-old or your 16-year-old daughter? If they can't listen, that's my rule. If my kids can't listen to it, I'm probably not gonna say it. So from a family standpoint and a generation standpoint, I would say, careful of what it should be, a freedom of speech or what have you, but at the same time, just be mindful that what you say might be basically taken the wrong way by even people that you love. And from another standpoint, remember, Big Brother may be watching and, you might be incriminating yourself, saying certain nefarious things in your songs, and now guess what? You're in the court of law explaining yourself. When we could have just avoided this by just not saying certain things. That's just me. I just keep it happy. You know me already. Me keep it happy. Me sing about happiness and vibes. You understand? So if you ever bring me go court about vibes, then we're going to talk about vibes, right? That's it.
On the note of vibes though, like Vibes Cartel and Movado, there are talks that there is this Gully Gaza collaborative tour expected to take place. Do you think that this is something that can, reposition dancehall in the clubs and conversations, especially since you're living in the States?
100%. Yes, it will. And I'm going to tell you this, man. Both of them, those two artists are two smart gentlemen. Movado, Vibes Cartel, very smart. And I'm going to tell you this. What they're doing now with this tour, as far as carrying the Gully Gaza tour and Clash or whatever you worldwide, I think it's something that they're probably capitalizing on from what they saw never happened with Stitchy and Papa San, with Bunty and Beanie. Can you imagine if Stitchy and Papa San are taking their feud worldwide? Ninja and Shaba worldwide. Bunty Beanie, if they are taking their feud worldwide, I think they probably see that there's a gap with that, and they see that people want it, and now they're going to capitalize, they're going to execute, and I think that's great on their part, man. I think it's going to do very well because you got a lot of fans all around the world who are and that's an era in music too that a lot of people would want to go back to and just relive those moments. So I think it's a great idea, and I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's going to definitely going to reshape the music and have some, people think about how to strategically, create shows and events, right? Because this is definitely a strategic move on their part,
No, absolutely. You kind of would have alluded to it in the conversation, but I just want to ask you straight up as well. If given the choice again, music fame or military stability, which would you choose?
I guess we'll never know.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what? Shoot. Well, music is my love. If I have to choose between both of them, and you tell me that I can't choose military and I have to choose one, I have to go with music. Definitely music, 100%. Definitely music, 100%.
You spoke openly, about your wife, your children. What did it do to you? Like being in the military, I'm sure you would have had to miss some birthdays, some important occasions. How did that impact you? Like, even emotionally?
It impacted me a lot emotionally. There were times when, I'll tell you what, there were times when I was I was stationed in Charleston, South Carolina, and I would call my wife on her birthday. And for the whole day, I'm speaking to my wife, back and forth, what have you. And then I don't remember to tell her happy birthday until like 7 p.m. at night. And you can imagine how that affected me or affected her, So
Yes.
stuff like that. And then being away from my kids for a long time too, that played a toll too on just our relationship as well at the time. Everything is good now, but there were times when I was concerned because I didn't feel like my daughter knew me as much as how I wanted her to know me. You get what I'm saying? So it does play a role, being away from your family in the military, even if for a year. Because for you, for us as grown up, 1 year is just 12 months. It's not a long time. But to be away from your child for 1 year, in their mind, that's a lifetime for them. Think about going to high school for 5 years. That seemed like a lifetime being in high school as a kid for 5 years. It's just 5 years, right? But so think about 1 year for a child, you being away. But by the time you see that child after being missing for 1 year, even if you talk to them on the phone and what have you, the relationship is not the same as if you were there every single day doing things with them. So definitely affect me in a certain way, but I think we rebounded and bounced from it, and we're in a great space. My daughter is about to go to college this year.
Wow.
And I'm proud. Yeah, she's about to be 18. She's 17 now, about to be 18, and she's about to go to college this year, and I'm excited. It's another chapter again. So
yeah. What role did your wife play in your success story?
Oh, she played the most, different from the Almighty God, of course. She played the most integral role in my success. Yeah, I credit her for everything. And she was the one holding it down with the kids. She's the one who encouraged me, right? Even when I was going through college, because you don't know, I never started college until 10 years. Think about it. Shoot, I graduated high school 18. I didn't start my first college class until age 28. So my head tough by this time. You know what I'm saying? So it's my wife who actually helped me with a lot of the assignments and what have you, and got me through a lot of this as far as school wise. When I was having a rough time in the military, I could always call her and she could give me sound advice. Yeah, she played the most important role, I would say, and most effective role, in my success. And she never ever tried to take me away from the music. Matter of fact, she always encouraged me to do the music. Sometimes she would say, "Rowan, when last you do some music? I haven't seen you done, any music in a while. What's up?" She always encouraged me to keep with the music and not, give up the music. So. Yep,
Yeah.
they agree.
Wow. We are on crunch time, and we're getting ready to we're getting ready to wrap up. We have some 3 minutes basically remaining, but I want to ask you though, like for your fellow entertainers and especially, the young youths in Jamaica, whether uptown, in the ghettos, just wherever, like as somebody who from Waterhouse, you would have garnered a wealth of experience, and you are a different person. This is a different ZUMJAY I'm talking to today. What advice would you give to those young men who are listening right now and are inspired by your story, decisions that you have made?
Yes, I would tell them, of course, and I don't want to sound too cliche, but definitely believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, believe in your craft, despite of what anyone say. People are gonna come and they're gonna tell you, say you can't do this or you can't achieve this. Do not believe them. Go for what you want. You understand? Even if you seem different. Oh, another thing too, do not try to fit in. Do not try to fit in, even if you seem like you are not the coolest guy on the block, or you don't fit in with the cool guys, and the tuggies and the quingers, and be you, be yourself, and eventually you will blossom and you will bloom, and people will accept you for who you are. So believe in your dreams, believe in yourself, despite even when people tell us you can't do it, pursue it. Do it, go for it. And Don't try fit in, right, with a crowd and do that through them and do that. Do what you are doing, focus on your race, focus on your lane, and just block out the noise. That's what I would advise the youth them today, for the basically, and it will, and time, time will tell. You will achieve what you want in time. Just be patient and go for what you want, basically. Block out the noise. That's it. No business with what nobody wants to say. Go for what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, wow. ZUMJAY, this was absolutely amazing. Messages are coming through across our WhatsApp line for you. Shane Clark from Irie, he says, big man thing, Zoom. Bless up yourself, 100.
Yes. Appreciate your Shane. Big up yourself as well, Yeah, man.
Well, thank you so much, ZUMJAY. I will play the track that you said is out today.
Yes.
Which one of them is out today again? Is it dancehall?
It is Rhythm of the Drums, and that's a collaboration between me and Lenky. By the way, the EP is coming out soon. This year, that's what we're working on. ZUMJAY and Lenky EP. The name of the song is Rhythm of the Drums. It's a happy vibes, and it's a collaboration between ZUMJAY and Stephen Lenky Marsden. So just be happy, enjoy.
Happy vibes, party vibes. This is what we're getting from the EP.
Yes, happy vibes, party vibes. That's it. Happiness. That we are dealing with.
Rhythm of ZUMJAY. This was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, ZUMJAY.
Come on, big up yourself.
Thank you, sir. Salute.
Hello.
Tonight we're in the party. Tonight we're having fun. Let's make a toast.
Amazing conversation with ZUMJAY. It's almost like I know it's a different ZUMJAY that we get. Not true, but it's stick and stay. See you on the flip side of this break.
March 20 to 25 is Marchmas at Quartz Optical. On March 20, save 20% on select designer frames. On March 21, buy one, get one, 50% off select contacts. On March 23 and 24, get big discounts on credit purchases or $6,000 rebate. On Marchmas Day, March 25, get up to 70% off select frames. Marchmas at Quartz Optical from March 20 to 25 with up to 70% off. Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Conditions apply.
Beer winnings with red stripe. Beer winnings with red stripe. Mix and match the 4 brew with them like Dragon Stout and Malta, them well nice. With any flavors of red stripe, a beer vibes.
Buy any of your favorite red stripe brews plus Malta or Dragon Stout to win your share of $12 million in cash and prizes. See the press for details and how to enter.
Beer winnings with red stripe. Mix and match the 4 brew with them like Dragon Stout.
Must be 18 years or older. Drink and live responsibly.
Score with Coca-Cola and live your World Cup dream! We're giving you the chance to experience the 2026 FIFA World Cup live! Just buy a 355 or 591 milliliter Coca-Cola with a gold or black cap. Find your code under the cap and WhatsApp it to 876-789-8020. Then